Зачем я только тебя-то пришел мучить?
Ох, как вы мучаетесь.
Вздор. Вот что, Соня. Помнишь, я сказал, уходя, что если приду сегодня, то скажу тебе, кто убил Лизавету.
Так вы это в самом деле вчера? Почему вы знаете?
Знаю.
Так что ж вы меня так пугаете?
Погляди-ка хорошенько.
Господи! Что вы это над собой сделали? Нет, нет, теперь никого несчастней на целом свете. Нет.
Так не оставишь меня, Соня.
Нет, нет, никогда, нигде. За тобой пойду, всюду пойду. На край света пойду. В каторгу за тобой вместе пойду. Да что это? Да как вы такой могли на это решиться?
Ну, да что пограбить? Перестань, Соня.
Ты был голоден. Чтобы матери помочь, да?
Нет, нет, не был я так голоден. Я действительно хотел помочь матери. Но это не совсем верно. Не мучь меня, не мучь. Знаешь, если бы только я зарезал из того, что я голоден был, то я бы теперь счастлив был. Ну что тебе в том, если бы я сейчас сознался, что дурно сделал? Зачем тебе это глупое торжество надо мною? Ах, Соня, Соня, ничего ведь ты не поймешь, а только и страдаешься вся из-за меня.
Да разве ты тоже не мучаешься?
У меня сердце злое. Ты это заметь. Этим очень многое можно объяснить. Я потому и пришел, что зол. Есть такие, которые не пришли бы. А я трус и подлец. Не то это все. Ах, люди мы разные.
Да это хорошо, хорошо, что ты пришел. Это лучше, чтоб я все знала.
Вот что. Я хотел Наполеоном сделаться. Оттого и убил. Понятно теперь?
Нет. Ты говори, говори, я про себя все пойму.
Поймешь? Ну, посмотрим. Я один раз задал себе такой вопрос. А что, если бы, например, на моем месте случился Наполеон?
I think it's quite important because it's the center of you know, it's the relationship with suffering. Why have you killed? And the reasons of you doing what you are doing and at the same time suffering. And, you know, Nietzsche was in admiration of Dostoevsky. He liked it. He was saying he was the greatest psychologist. And I think that's once again something which is quite deep. He was writing novels. There is this one, but there is also Brother Karamazov. This is the one I liked the more, which is really about, you know, characters and going deep and trying to understand things about our suffering. And here there is something which is quite important. You can do something which is very bad, to kill, and the people want to know, why have you done that? Because the people, to forgive you, they need to know the cause. Was it for your mother? So it's forgivable. Is it for other reason? And you say, no, it's not for my mother. At the end of the day, I wanted to be a great man. And then your forgiveness is changing. So the point is really, why do you suffer?
Yeah.
And why do you behave? And at the end, this is the questions that we are asking ourselves as human beings.
So you were, I'm trying to think of you as 18, 19, 20, struggling with these really very large and very serious questions. What sort of man were you at, say, 19?
You know, practicing sports and at the same time quite lonely in all these questions. It was really something which is, it was not an easy, it was not an easy period of time. It was really about, I was reading things that were beyond my age at that time, and sometimes, you know, even I remember my teacher of philosophy asked me not to come because I was challenging.
You were so intense.
It was, yes, he said, no, you know, you know what should be known at your, so come only for the exam. And he just asked me not to come to the lessons. For 1 year, I was not attending philosophy course because I was reading on my own and challenging him. But this was so important for me because really it was the deep questions of life. And at the same time also, I started to travel around the world, and I was connected to true suffering in the third world, in African countries. So it had a philosophical and at the same time a real meaning for me.
Yeah. We'll come back to your travels indeed in the third world. I was wondering, it may be just very, what's called in Dutch, psychology from the cold soil. But I was wondering, your maternal grandfather was the founder of the Muslim Brotherhood, which can be seen as really a precursor of what are the Christian Democrats in Europe, which people who you know, take inspiration from their faith in order to make their society better through democratic means. It also has other offshoots. It's ending in Hamas. I mean, it's a very wide movement that he began, and he was killed by Egyptian secret services. I can imagine that at some point this must have been told to you by your father or mother. How did that? Do you remember the moment? You
know, no. When I started to realize what happened to my family, you know, I was born in 62. He was killed in 49. And I didn't know about it. But it was everywhere in the family. Why? Because he was the father of my mother, who was the eldest daughter, but he was the spiritual father of my father, in fact. So the two married after he was killed, but it was very tense, it was very deep in the family. And there are two things that were very shaping the mentality. The first one was to be killed for your ideas. So there's something which is meaning is much more important. Meaning in life is much more important than life without meaning. It means that go ahead for your ideas, your ideals. But he never killed anyone, you know, what I was told by my parents. And then I went and read about this, that he was against violence and he was resisting the British colonization. Things were done in the name of the Muslim Brotherhood when he was alive, and he